In Hebrews 11, the inspired writer begins by defining what faith is in verse 1. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is a conviction regarding unseen realities that gives us a confident assurance regarding the future. He then follows up the definition by illustration, so that if one doesn't comprehend faith by definition, they may by illustration. Let's notice the verse 1 definition in these illustrations. Hebrews 11 verse 7, by faith Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. Notice the phrase, things not seen as yet, which is exactly the terms of the definition given in verse 1. Moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his family. Here was a conviction regarding a disaster that had never been seen before, and a confident hope of deliverance based on the promise and testimony of God. And observe, Noah's conviction and confidence were manifested in his obedient conduct. Noah didn't trust in the ark or his constructive labor for his salvation. His trust was in God's grace. The Genesis account tells us that Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Yet he knew that his salvation by God's grace could not be effected, could not be a reality apart from obedient faith. Continuing with the next example, by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should afterward receive for an inheritance, obeyed. And he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. This was a journey of faith. He left everything he knew. He didn't know where, he didn't know how long, he didn't know how far. This was a conviction regarding an unseen country and a confident hope of possessing it. We see the same components of faith regarding the seed promise, the birth of Isaac when Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90 years old. Conviction regarding the unseen and confident expectation regarding things hoped for in the future. Paul writes of this faith in Romans chapter 4, verses 20 and 21, and being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of God through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving glory to God. And perhaps the greatest example of Abraham's faith, the offering of his son, Hebrews 11, verses 17 through 19. By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. Abraham knew that he would return with Isaac alive. God's promised seed went through Isaac, and Isaac did not yet have children. Therefore, if he killed Isaac, Abraham believed and knew God would bring him back to life. Here was conviction regarding something that had never been seen before that gave Abraham a confident, expectant hope for the future.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to make sure you don't miss any videos from the Mended Collective. Do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add about the subject? If you do, leave those comments along with suggestions for future content. Thanks again.